Traits of entitlement, greed, avarice and deception.
I nearly entered rehab yesterday. That is the biggest pile of crap I've ever seen on television in my life.
I want to play you the first of these South Park clips and get you to react.
Kiddo, listen to this. Meghan Markle to join the 11th season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Ugh, so thirsty for any kind of attention. I would die before I would be on her reality show.
What mother or father in the name of sweet Jesus has enough time to create a fruit plate at 6 o'clock on a Monday morning when there's toast throwing around the room?
The couple have been begging for privacy, and South Park has done a parody of this, and apparently it has really upset Meghan Markle.
Who just went off on these, what did she call them? Queen's husband was dying, and she went on Oprah and suggested one or both of them are raging racists. She couldn't have cared less. She doesn't care about anyone other than herself.
I'm opening this cylinder now. If you're watching, hit what a ta-da!
What if the woman who once shouted his name from the rooftops is now pretending he never existed? Meghan Markle, known for name-dropping every A-lister in her orbit, has gone strangely silent on Tyler Perry, and not just in passing. Not once in her latest podcast, not in her choreographed interviews, not even offhand in conversation. The man who flew her cross-country on a private jet welcomed her into his mansion when the world turned its back and was chosen as godfather to her child, has now been quietly downgraded to just a friend.
We want our privacy and safety, but we'll go be at Beyonce concerts and do whatever we want. Oh, look at him. It's my fox. Oh, yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
The shift was anything but quiet, and people noticed. From royal analysts to Hollywood insiders to everyday viewers, the same question kept echoing louder each week. What happened between Meghan Markle and Tyler Perry? Because let's be clear, Meghan didn't just name-drop Tyler, she treated him like family. He wasn't some background player, he was the man who gave her shelter, a central figure in her royal escape story. His name was woven into her Netflix docu-series, praised for offering emotional support when she claimed the monarchy left her out in the cold. But now, total silence.
If you think about it, Meghan got everything she wanted. She got the husband, she got the children, she got the HRH, she got everything that allowed her to rise up and to have that global recognition that we know how badly she wanted that.
Meghan ruined Harry. Now that the once carefree, fun-loving prince has turned into a miserable moaner, lashing out from the depths of his paranoia at a world he thinks is conspiring against him.
It started small, but intentional. During a story about meeting media mogul Katie Lee, Meghan casually referred to Tyler Perry's mansion as just a friend's house. No name, no credit. And it didn't stop there. She said it again, like someone who had carefully rehearsed the line. Then came the Paley Center event, where Perry was being honored. Meghan was there, but not at his table, not beside him, not even on stage. Some say she flat out refused to stand with him during his big moment. That's when quiet questions turned into loud speculation. Did Meghan know something the rest of us didn't? Was this emotional distance or calculated damage control? And the bigger question, was she worried about what Tyler Perry might say if he felt used, tossed aside, or flat out betrayed? Because if Meghan Markle has a pattern, it's this: when someone vanishes from her story, it's never random. And this time, the silence wasn't just strange. It was a warning, and it was about to clash head-on with a public reckoning.
Oh, shut up. No! I refuse! I'm sick of it!
No, look, Maureen.
I can't.
Look at this.
I can't.
Like, guys, you don't got to do this. Please, I'm begging you to stop.
Meghan, I'm begging you to stop now.
What do you mean the stakes are this high? Who do you think you are? No, I don't want to cook again, Meghan. My God, take a break.
Want respect? Try shutting up.
Tyler Perry may have sensed the storm brewing, but Meghan Markle saw the clouds gathering long before the thunder hit. When TMZ dropped a bombshell report accusing Perry of disturbing behavior inside his Atlanta guest house, including claims of late-night encounters and an alleged groping incident involving a man in nothing but underwear, the internet exploded. Yet Meghan said nothing. No defense, no support, no comment. Just cold, calculated distance. And that's what has people rattled. Because long before the scandal went public, Meghan had already started erasing Tyler from her story. She dodged his name in her Katie Lee podcast. He was missing from her brand's shiny new rollout. And at the Paley Center, even though she showed up, she kept her seat far from the stage. This wasn't awkward, it was surgical. She once called this man family. She trusted him to be her child's godfather. Now, he's treated like a risk. And if you followed Meghan's playbook, you know this isn't random. She doesn't just walk away, she rewrites the whole chapter. And insiders are now convinced this edit was intentional, not accidental.
I might watch it in the same way that I turn my head to see a car accident.
It is the cringiest, most uncomfortable piece of tape I've seen in a long time.
These two are now an international embarrassment.
Here's the problem. We don't like you, Meghan Markle.
She knew this was coming, one source claimed. And if that's true, then Meghan didn't just react, she planned. The sudden silence around Tyler Perry wasn't some awkward coincidence, it was a strategic retreat, cut loose the second he became a liability. But this time, it's not a clean break, because Tyler isn't just another faded contact. He knows too much. He was there for the Hollywood reboot, the raw, behind-the-scenes version of Meghan's post-palace pivot. If he talks, it won't just be awkward, it'll be explosive. Quietly ghosting a friend is one thing. Scrubbing them from your legacy? That's a whole different level, and Meghan's allegedly doing it with surgical precision. The Netflix doc that once featured Tyler's voice and presence as a beacon of support? Faded behind newer Meghan-first projects. Glowing interviews where she praised him like a saint? Archived, edited, or flat-out ignored. And when it was time to show up for Tyler at the Paley Center? The red carpet, the stage, even his table, she avoided it all. And this wasn't some massive gala, it was a personal tribute, a room full of allies, and Meghan chose distance. It was as if she'd already filed him away as a threat, not a friend. According to insiders, this is just how Meghan operates. When someone stops being useful, they stop being visible, said one industry insider who's worked closely with her camp. And it tracks, just ask Jessica Mulroney, once her best friend and most loyal ride or die, until one social media scandal sent her straight into the memory hole.
This one brilliantly exposes some of the Sussexes' laughable hypocrisy. Watch.
Yes, that's right, friend. You see, my wife and I are totally like, you should write a book because your family's like stupid, and then so are like journalists.
Critics say Meghan Markle treats friendship like a business deal. You're either boosting her spotlight or getting quietly cut from the frame. And now, as she scrambles to scrub Tyler Perry from her story, it might be too late. People in Perry's camp have started whispering, and if he feels betrayed by the cold shoulder, he may start telling a very different version of events. This isn't just a story about Meghan dropping Tyler. The real question is, did she drop him before he could drop her? There was a time when she couldn't stop praising him. Tyler Perry wasn't just a friend, he was a lifeline. She called him family. He gave her housing, security, and a sense of safety when no one else would. She made him godfather to her daughter, and now, insiders say, she's trying to erase even that. Behind closed doors in Montecito, sources claim Meghan is actively looking for ways to reframe Perry's role in her child's early life, possibly even dissolve the godparent title altogether. But that kind of backpedaling doesn't go unnoticed, especially not in Hollywood, where loyalty is currency. Cutting off a friend is one thing. Erasing a chosen godparent? That's nuclear. And while Perry hasn't spoken publicly, those around him say he's very aware of what's happening. He's not stupid, one source put it. He sees what she's doing. Because this isn't just about public perception, it's about damage control. Perry's name is now caught in the middle of an escalating scandal, with lawsuits and allegations swirling. And Meghan? She's reportedly falling back on her usual tactic. When the smoke starts rising, she doesn't stick around to put out the fire, she books a flight and brings the PR cavalry.
She's apparently spent days being upset and overwhelmed, according to sources, over this parody, which picks apart all of their publicity blitz while at the same time begging privacy.
What's unsettling isn't just Meghan's silence, it's how familiar it's all starting to feel. Jessica Mulroney, Samantha Cohen, and now possibly Tyler Perry, one by one, anyone who becomes inconvenient simply vanishes from view. But cutting out a godfather? That's not spin, that's an identity overhaul. And if Perry breaks his silence, even a little, the fallout could be massive. Because he was there when Meghan was at her most fragile. He knows the behind-the-scenes version of Megxit, the one with the panic calls, the relocation drama, the truth behind the royal split. If she's nervous about what he could reveal, maybe she should be. Because this silence? It's not awkward, it's calculated. Behind the filtered Instagram quotes and Joy Chapter press lines, there's a storm building. According to multiple insiders, Meghan's team is unraveling. PR staff are being let go, publicists are getting shuffled, and the reason, sources claim, is money. Not "we lost a deal" broke, more like dangerously close to empty. Their Spotify deal fell apart. The podcast is in limbo. Even People magazine, once her go-to media safe zone, is now cozying back up to Princess Kate. That's not just a headline shift, that's a narrative collapse. And the timing couldn't be worse. Her latest big appearance, an interview with Emma Grade meant to boost her lifestyle brand, was panned inside the industry. Cringe-worthy jokes, tone-deaf messaging, and a vibe completely detached from reality. Her big empowerment line? "I wish people would just tell the truth." Instead of inspiring anyone, it was instantly mocked. Memes, eye rolls, and backlash followed. Why? Because when it comes from someone accused of twisting facts about her background, her royal feud, and her media deals, it doesn't feel bold, it feels fake. And while Meghan claims she's living her best life, her moves scream desperation. From tightly controlled interviews to overproduced product drops, there's a clear effort to dodge scrutiny, especially from people who know too much, like Tyler Perry. Because when you're trying to sell the world on peace and progress, the last thing you want is a former insider with regrets and receipts.
Well, hold on a second, you duplicitous woman. How does that make any sense?
So no amount of humanizing videos, even if she managed to find one, are going to work.
Is she ever going to get to the point where she literally looks in the mirror and goes, "Nobody's interested in my jam or my life. Nobody likes me. Shut the hell up."
Meghan Markle is trying to kid the world that all is fine.
I think there is now sick, essentially in my mouth. Oh my God, this is horrific.
Some say Meghan's just tightening her circle. Others think she's cleaning house before something big leaks. But one insider didn't sugarcoat it. They called it pure panic dressed up in Pinterest quotes. And judging by how fast she's rewriting her inner circle, it's clear. Meghan knows the storm hasn't passed. In fact, many believe it hasn't even started, which makes her next move even more revealing. Instead of facing the past, she's deflecting again. And this time, who she points the finger at might expose more than she realizes. That now infamous line, "I just wish people would tell the truth," was meant to sound empowering. Instead, it hit like a threat, and not to the tabloids, but to the people who actually know her. For years, former staffers, aides, and insiders stayed silent under NDAs, royal confidentiality, and contracts. But now, that wall is starting to crack. Quiet whispers are building, and what they're saying? It's not the Meghan the public's been sold. At the center of it all is the bullying report, the one Queen Elizabeth had sealed. Critics claim it contains devastating testimony, not just vague complaints. We're talking detailed accounts from people who left their jobs in tears, some seeking therapy, and reportedly, Prince William himself had to step in and tell Meghan to stop. She's always denied it, calling it a smear campaign. But royal watchers say if that report ever gets leaked, it would make Spare look like a children's book. And here's where Tyler Perry steps back into the frame because he was there. He took the calls, he offered the refuge. He was one of the few outsiders in her inner circle during that exact time. If he ever felt betrayed by how she's ghosted him, would he confirm her version of events? Or destroy it? That "tell the truth" quote wasn't just a soundbite. To some, it was a dare, a challenge to anyone still bound by silence. And if Meghan just poked the wrong person, a person already burned and watching from the sidelines, she might have made a mistake she can't walk back. Because when you shout for truth, people start to remember the lies. And someone, somewhere, always decides to talk.
Isn't it true, sir, that your questionable wife has her own TV show and hangs out with celebrities and does fashion magazines? What are you suggesting? Well, I just think some people might say that your Instagram-loving wife actually doesn't want her privacy. How dare you, sir? My Instagram-loving wife has always wanted her privacy!
Any type of flower arranging is just telling a story. What story do you want to tell? Maybe leave the country. Maybe disown your dad. Be creative with it.
If Meghan Markle saw the Tyler Perry scandal coming, it wouldn't be the first time she played the game 10 steps ahead. According to several insiders, her behavior started shifting months before the allegations ever made headlines. One source in Montecito's social circle claims Meghan got a private heads-up. Unsettling noise about Perry was already circulating back in late 2023. And right after that, she hit the brakes hard. No more shout-outs, no more warm mentions, just silence. Suddenly, it was all Serena Williams and Oprah Winfrey, while Tyler Perry vanished from the narrative like he never existed. And this wasn't accidental. It was calculated. Meghan has always built her brand on strategic proximity, a line with power, distance from trouble. But this wasn't just a friend. This was the man who gave her shelter, who let her live in his home, who allegedly paid for private security when the palace wouldn't. And now, not only is she cutting ties, she's doing it preemptively, as if she knew this was coming. If that's true, it paints a darker picture. Not that she was blindsided, but that she saw it, planned for it, and started rewriting the script before the headlines dropped. Critics call it a classic Markle move, stay ahead of the scandal by pretending it never happened, but this time, that erasure may not be enough. Because the questions aren't going away. What did Meghan know? When did she know it? And why, after years of public praise and a Godfather title, is she suddenly pretending Tyler Perry was never part of the story? Even more chilling, this silence may not be about damage control, it might be a signal. A message to others, stay in line or disappear. Because if Perry talks, really talks, Meghan's entire house of cards could topple. He wasn't just a guy with a jet and a spare room, he was part of the royal exit strategy at its most fragile point. He answered the late-night calls, he helped plan the getaway. He may even have insight into what the public still hasn't been told. Sources say Perry might be sitting on more than drama. They claim he has knowledge of internal Sussex strategy, money flows, even hush-hush decisions made during their royal departure. This isn't conspiracy, it's growing speculation. One insider put it bluntly, if Meghan's cutting him off, it's because he could contradict her, and not just on one thing. Who was there when Meghan said she feared for her family's safety? Who offered security when the royals backed away? Who might hold messages, emails, or receipts that could back or break her entire story? If Perry has any of that, he holds the power to rewrite her legacy, and Meghan knows it. The real problem? Tyler's silence might not last much longer.
One of the executives came out and said they quite literally have no talent, but worse than that, they don't want to work. Never, ever. Because they don't really know how to make money, right? Their entire brand is talking about their own victimhood. They want them to continue to trash the royal family.
He always played the role of protector in her life, until now. Sources close to Tyler Perry say he's starting to feel the sting of being cast aside, and not just by anyone, but by the woman he once sheltered when the world turned its back. He's not used to being erased, one insider said bluntly, especially not by someone he supported when no one else would. If that loyalty is now being tossed aside like a used prop, Perry might be reconsidering more than just his friendship. He might be rethinking his silence. Meghan may be gambling that he's too powerful, too private, or too image-conscious to ever strike back. But she's miscalculated before, and this time, the stakes are brutal. Because if the man who once gave her refuge becomes the one to call her out, the damage could dwarf every scandal that came before. There's one pattern that defines Meghan's post-royal era, an obsession with narrative control. From glossy Netflix cuts to micromanaged interviews, from brand rollouts to podcast scripts, her entire image feels packaged to perfection, and critics say, manufactured to a fault. But now that the cracks are showing, even her staunchest defenders are squinting. Is all this about positivity? Or is it about hiding something? Her recent plays, blocking access to product data, launching a rosé no one asked for, and saying a lot while meaning very little, don't scream confidence. Even her podcast's indefinite pause is being sold as creative choice, though insiders whisper it was quietly axed after poor engagement. She claims to be editing season 2 of her Netflix show, but multiple sources say she's barely involved, just recording a few lines while producers cobble it together from old footage. It's the same story again and again, all sparkle, no substance. Her tone has shifted from inspirational to corporate self-help. Her products feel tone-deaf. Her insistence that she's thriving only draws attention to everything falling apart. Because the truth is this, success doesn't need spin. Privacy doesn't need performative posts, and you don't need to ghost a godfather unless you're scared of what he might say. Even her usual allies are pulling away. People magazine, long seen as Meghan's personal press machine, is now running praise pieces on Princess Kate. Behind the curtain, her inner circle is shrinking. And when every quote sounds rehearsed, when every drop is wrapped in vague, glittery branding, eventually the audience stops buying, figuratively and literally. The real story isn't what Meghan is doing, it's what she's not doing. She hasn't addressed the Perry fallout, she hasn't explained the podcast collapse, and she hasn't told us why the people closest to her keep disappearing. But someone will. And when they do, her polished storyboards may not hold up. The question haunting Montecito isn't about jam jars or rosé labels, it's this. What happens if Tyler Perry talks? Because while Meghan Markle crafts her founder journey in softly lit interviews, Perry remains the one wild card she can't choreograph. He was there, at the lowest point, at the peak of her royal escape. He was her backup plan, her status upgrade, her lifeline. And now she's allegedly trying to erase him like he was a typo. But what if the man who once helped build her story decides to tell his own? He doesn't need to unleash everything. One contradiction, one truthful slip, could unravel major parts of Meghan's public fairy tale. A single detail about their living situation, her claims of fear, the timing of it all, could be enough to tear a hole in her narrative. And this isn't happening in isolation. The royal family's sealed bullying report? Still locked away, but Prince William has the key. If Meghan escalates things, racializing the next scandal or weaponizing the kids in a new victim arc, that report could go public in a heartbeat. The clock is ticking, and Meghan seems to know it. That's why she's scrambling to rewrite, demote, distract, and smile through the spin. Because she knows it only takes one leak, one name, one person with nothing left to lose and everything to say. And if that person is Tyler Perry, Meghan may soon be facing the one force she can't out-influence, out-edit, or out-produce: the truth. Whether it drops in whispers, lawsuits, or a single headline, her team can't contain it. The fallout would be devastating, because when you burn bridges with the people who once carried your story, you risk something much worse than bad press. You risk them lighting the match that burns your whole fairy tale down. So what do you think? Will Tyler Perry stay silent, or will Meghan's quiet betrayal finally come back to haunt her? Drop your thoughts below, hit like and subscribe, and stay locked in. What's coming next might just flip this entire saga on its head.